Hi, I am Nikki Hinkle. I'm a Sapphire Ambassador with Plexus, and I'm just going to do a real quick Plexus recruitment training. The first thing you're going to need to do if you're going to do any recruiting is you're going to need a prospect of who you're going to recruit to. A great way to come up with a list of prospects is using the Frank method. The Frank method stands for friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids connections, and service organizations. Your friends are going to be your obvious ones. These are the people that you do life with and know well, as are your relatives. The acquaintances, this can be trickier. These are people that you just run into in everyday life. You may not know them super well, but you may see them at the grocery store on a weekly basis, or they may be the person that does your hair, or maybe someone like that. So this is one that kind of forces you to think outside the box a little bit. Neighbors. And when you think of your neighbors, don't just think of the people that live next door to you, but also remember, like, maybe your mailman, if you've had the same mailman for years and years and you know him well, or if you have a Swans man, or just people that are in your neighborhood that might be maybe your yard guy if you have one. People that are on your street on a regular basis that you see, start to make connections with them. The kid connections is for K, so this is for if you have a family, if you have children, you'll start to meet new people through your kids. So any of your kids' friends' parents, or if they're on a soccer team or any other sports, if you join if you get to know the other parents that are on the team, that's a great way to find prospects. Service organizations is the last. So any sort of organization that you might join with your church, or with a parent group, or with something that kind of gets you involved in, especially like at the school. These are great ways to find new prospects. Don't just rely on Facebook, but do add them as friends once you've targeted them, because that's a great way for them to see what you do. Always be adding new prospects into your life. Join play groups or mom groups, especially if you don't have a huge social network. Really try to reach out and join some of these groups. Volunteer at your kids' school or at your church. Join a social club or service organization. There are lots of great social clubs and service organizations, and I know a lot of them, like Junior League, and there's a few others that they tend to like to support each other. So it's a great way to kind of go in and find and build relationships and make new customers and new prospects, because they tend to like to support each other's businesses. Join an alumni group for your high school or college. If you were in a sorority in college, look up that alumni group, or find people on Facebook but you aren't Facebook friends with. Start looking at those suggestions on your sidebar. If there's somebody that you recognize that you actually know, go ahead and add them as a friend and start building your network on Facebook. And find people to follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Don't just rely on Facebook as your only social media, because remember, these other ones are actually really growing. I think Twitter and Instagram is much larger with the younger crowd, so those are ones that you want to start kind of hitting. Build relationships. I think this is definitely the key to network marketing and to recruiting. Network marketing is relational marketing. Once you've made that list of your prospects, you don't want to just dive in and spam them immediately. If you react in this way, most people are not going to respond. They're just going to see it, click delete. They might even block you. So you want to make sure that you have a relationship with them first. Be authentic when you approach somebody. Make sure that you're being yourself, and that you are not putting on a different hat when you go to talk to them. Don't suddenly put on your sales hat and talk in a different voice and use words that you would never use before. Stay true to yourself, because your friends are going to see through that. So make sure that you remain yourself. Build trust. I like to use the marble jar example for this one. When you're building trust with another person, you tend to treat it like a marble bar, a marble jar. Anytime somebody tells you something about themselves or about their lives, that's adding a marble into that jar. Anytime somebody, says something nice to you or comments on you, about your family, or, is willing to, help you out, that's another marble in the marble jar. So just little things in everyday life start to build trust. And over time, you have this person that you have this trusting relationship with. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time as they dropped marbles in that jar. So as we're trying to build relationships and trust with people, especially over social media, we're going to want to start adding marbles to their jar by, reaching out to them. If we see that they're struggling with something, maybe private message them and let them know that you're praying for them, or see if they need any help. If they post cute pictures of their kids, comment on them and let them know that, cute pic, or, just even liking their pictures. These little things like this is going to help building trust and help building that relationship, so that they will start to take your business seriously when they see you post about it, instead of just scrolling through and ignoring it. We also have to build belief in our product. You have to share your own results and testimonies. I hear all the time things like, I don't have migraines anymore, and my cholesterol has dropped, but I haven't lost weight yet, so I really don't think that I can share this. And that's craziness. Like, if you have any little testimony, share it. No more migraines. That's phenomenal. And you may have somebody on your Facebook friend list that is dealing with migraines on a daily basis, and it's debilitating, and they, this may be something that they need. So share what it's doing for you, and make sure you do it in a way that's not claiming that our products are going to do this, but just that you're sharing how you feel on the products and how it's actually helping you. And share what others have. Share others' testimonies. Don't just sharing your own is the best, but not everybody has a new testimony. I don't think anyone would have a new testimony on a daily basis. So you're going to need to share other people's testimonies too. And it always helps if it's someone you know. If your team has a testimonial page, or if on your team board people share their testimonies, always use those so that you can tag the person and your Facebook friends see that you know this person. This is a real person. This isn't just a before-after picture you Googled that may not even be from Plexus products. So that things like that really help to start building belief in your audience. Ask questions. Find out what your prospects' needs are so you can tailor your language to meet their needs. Not everybody's going to go into this wanting the same thing. Like, everyone has different needs on what they want with the business and what with the products, and make sure you know what it is that their needs are before you just bombard them with your sales pitch. And with that, you want to think of yourself as a consultant and not as a recruiter, and realize you may find some that this company isn't for, and that's okay. That's, not everybody wants to do this. Once you have made your frank list, I like to come up with what I call a dream team. We all have people in mind who we think would be phenomenal in this industry. So kind of go through your list and pinpoint those people who you think would be the most amazing ambassadors that you can have on your team. Don't ever rule anyone out. I definitely have had some amazing ambassadors under me that I never would have expected. So there are some that definitely will, surprise you, which is great. But do look for people that you think are going to be great, because in the beginning, when you have your frank list, it should be a really, really huge list. A lot of us have, a ton of Facebook friends already, and if we're trying to think of people on top of that, we're looking at a huge number of people. So that's kind of overwhelming to say, okay, here's, 1,000 people I'm ready to, to target. But so that's why if you take it down to your dream team, it makes it more manageable. Look for people with big networks already. This is helpful in this industry to have a bigger reach. Look for people who are already actively using social media. This is really helpful. If you know somebody that is posting daily, they already have that, they've already built trust with people, and they've already, you know, established that rapport on Facebook. If you have somebody come in and has never used Facebook and suddenly joins it just to sell Plexus, it's going to take them a lot longer to start selling their product, because people are going to feel spammed all of a sudden because they've never seen their personal life yet on Facebook. So it does help, especially in the short term. If you want to see someone have instant success, it does help if they've already built that that belief on social media. Look for people who have a need for our products when you're thinking of people. If you know somebody that could really benefit from our products and they would have a phenomenal testimony, that's a great way to explode. And once you have pinpointed those people, start adding marbles to their jar, especially if there's somebody that you don't really know very well. Start, you know, reaching out in little ways, even if it's as small as starting to, you know, like their Facebook posts and see what they're interested in. That's how you're going to start building trust. How to close, the power of asking questions. Eric Worre talks about this one, and I think it's a great advice and a great way to know how to close whenever you get that prospect. A lot of us have had that issue. You know, we have people come to us, ask us about the business, you spill it all out to them, and then nothing. So you don't want to just throw all your cards on the table instantly. We want to act as a consultant to try and get them to decide if this company is a good fit for them. And then it kind of makes them leave feeling like it was completely their decision, which we want it to be, and it wasn't something that we shoved on them. If you were to start, one of the first questions you're to ask is, if you were to start in this business on a part-time basis, how much would you want to make a month in order to make this worth your time? Most people, especially if they're coming in, now if they're coming in this just to be a wholesale buyer, this might not be on their mind. And if that's the case, it's probably better to encourage them to look at the customer route. But if someone's coming in wanting to make money, you know, they usually already have, the wheels are already turning and they're already thinking how much they want to make. The second question you ask, once they've answered that one, it's about how many hours per week could you dedicate to building this business in order to make that much per month. And that's going to vary per person. Some people may have a full-time job already and not have a lot of time, and others may be, you know, willing to make this their full-time job, and that's going to make a difference. The third question is about how many months would you be willing to work those 8 hours a week, if they said 8, in order to develop that income. If their expectations are unrealistic, be honest with them. Don't blow smoke for anyone. If, you know, if someone wants to make $10,000 a month and they're only willing to work a few hours a week and they're only going to give it a few months, then clearly it's not realistic. Now, if they're willing to change a few of those numbers, then you can tell them, I can come up with a game plan. If you think, if you would be willing to only make $1,000 a month and work maybe 4 hours a week and give it 6 months, then maybe we can talk. So coach them into a reasonable expectation. Let them realize that, you know, this isn't a get-rich scheme. This is going to require work. They should go into this with the expectation that this is going to require work. For some, it seems that it's just like post on Facebook and they will come. But for the most part, they need to know that that's a very unrealistic expectation and that there will be some work involved. And if you're honest with them, this is going to build credibility and trust. Even if they decide now is not a good time for this business, they're going to remember you as a trustworthy person and respect how you recruited them. And they may come back. And then the last question that you would ask them, if the numbers they gave you were realistic, is if I can show you how to reach that $2,000 income a month while working 8 hours a week, and you were to give it 6 full months, is there anything else you need in order to get started? And usually at that point, you know, there's not anything else they need. So you show them the game plan. So how do you show them the game plan? You have to know your compensation plan. Read the entire compensation plan. Don't just look at the chart. The chart's handy to show people in the beginning, but you need to read the entire compensation plan and then read it again and again and again and again until you know that thing front and back. you really have to know it to fully explain it to your recruits. And if you have recruits coming to you that really want to work this business, they're going to want to know how much they're going to get paid. You don't go to a job interview and accept the job without getting a payment, a salary expectation. So they need to have realistic expectations and have a game plan set in place. And you need to have that knowledge in order to do that for them. So here's an example game plan that we can give a customer. In this example, they have the goal of making $1,000 a month, and they said they'd be willing to work 8 hours a week and give it 6 full months to get there. So I tried to come up with a plan that's very realistic and not too gung-ho, since they're not putting just a whole lot of time into their business, but they are putting enough in to make it happen. So on their first month, I have them only getting 2 preferred customers on the Slim Accelerator, because usually that first month it's hard to kind of start to get sales to come in. They're still working on building belief with their audience, and they don't have a personal testimony usually yet. So that first month they would make $48 off their commission and their bonus. By month 2, they're starting to build belief with their customers and with their audience, and so she started to get a lot more customers here this month. She has 5 preferred customers, and I just kept them all on the Slim Accelerator combo except for ease. And then she also has her order. So her PV went over $500 this month, so she got her 25% commission, and she got a new level 1 ambassador. All that together would give her $247.50. By month 3, here's when her business really starts to take off, and I'm going to set a goal for her from here on out to recruit 3 new level 1 ambassadors every single month. This month she's going to go silver, because she's going to have her new 3 ones and her 1 from last month. She's going to get a level 2, and she'll have 5 points in commission from the previous month. And I have her at 6 preferred customers, and I'm going to tell her that this is going to be my goal for her right now, is to make sure she keeps it at 6. Of course, if she goes way higher, that's phenomenal. But this is a realistic goal for when you're setting up something new for somebody, to keep 6 customers. Now, granted, this 6 customers is going to change, because some of these customers are going to become ambassadors, and some of them are just going to quit. So she is going to be bringing in new ones constantly, but just to try to keep it her goal to keep it at 6, so her PV always maintains over 500. With her silver bonus and her preferred bonus and everything else, I would give her $528 for month 3. So halfway there on her goal. By month 4, again, she got her 3 new level 1 ambassadors. And she's starting to build her team, so she's starting to see more level 2s and level 3s show up. And now she's starting to get more pay points. So she has 20 pay points, so she can start to see how the pay points really work. And then her preferred customers and her bonus. So that would give her $598. By month 5, she's up to 70 points. Her team is really starting to get bigger, so she's starting to see where the pay points really start to contribute to your paycheck. And that would end her month at really close to 1,000, so she's almost hit her goal. And by month 6, she would turn gold. So not only does this show her how she can reach over $1,000 in 6 months, but it's also a good game plan on how to reach Gold Ambassador in 6 months, which really is one of the hardest ranks I feel like it is to hit. And I like to tell my team, if you can go gold, you can go diamond. How to answer objections. I like to use the feel, felt, found method. I've heard a lot of others use this too, and I think it's a great method to use. This is where you say, if a customer has an objection to you, you say, I understand how you feel, so you're letting the customer know that you heard them. And then I would say, initially I, or my friend or another ambassador felt that way too. And this lets them know that this is common. This thought is common. It's not a crazy thought that they're having, but the situation might not be as they think. It could be different. And then I would say, what they found, however, is. So one example that you hear a lot is, I just don't have time for this right now. And how I would answer that is, I understand how you feel completely. I have 4 kids, one of which I homeschool, and my husband travels a lot. So my life is definitely chaotic. I have found, however, that I've been able to fit it into the nooks and crannies of my life. And it has been way more profitable than I ever imagined. So I'm so thankful I found those spare moments. So you can use this for any objection that you hear. So maybe kind of come up with a list of objections in your mind, the most commonly used one, and practice the feel, felt, found method so that when you are thrown one of those curveballs, you've already practiced what your response is going to be. Customers are your best recruits. The thing about customers is they've already used your product. Like, they already have a testimony in place, so they can skip over the first few months of trying to, build belief, because they already have that belief. They already, and usually they're going to dive in head first to share it with their friends because they're excited about the products. So these usually can be some of your best recruits. I like to offer a referral program to my customers, and as soon as my customers start, referring their friends to me, if they refer really any more than one, I like to point out to them what the benefit would be in making those friends their customers. Because anyone who can find people to refer to you just to get a free product, they're going to make a great ambassador. Because if they can find it for that, they're definitely going to find them for our big paychecks. So show them the advantage of why keeping those customers as theirs is better than getting the referral prize. So again, sit down, make a game plan out for them, and show them you could actually be making this much off those customers instead of just getting the free bottle of, ProBio. Customers already have a personal testimony, like I said, so they're definitely more likely to just jump in head first. So I really like my customers that have become my ambassadors have been really great and stable ambassadors. Follow up, and the fortune is the follow up. It's so cliche, but it really is true. Make sure that you document anytime you get a new recruit. You need to make a list. I like to use Excel. Excel is definitely my favorite thing to use for everything, though. But if paper is better for you, whatever your system is that works for you, make a list. And every time somebody comes to you and talks to you about Plexus, write that down. And anytime you check in with them, put down the date that you checked in with them so that you can go through and see, it's been about 8 months since I talked to this person and they were really interested in the business, and then they decided they weren't. But you know what? We just got a new product out. Maybe I should go check in and say something like, I know then wasn't a good time for you, but maybe now would be a better time for you to look at our business again because this happened in our company. So it's really, really good to keep these lists of these people, because more than likely, if you had not written that down, that person that contacted you 8 months ago, you're not going to remember that because you've had 100 more contact you since then. So definitely document very closely anytime people message you and ask you about the opportunity, because people can slip through the cracks very easily if you don't document that. And after answering the questions, check back in with them. Again, when you answer a question, it's always great to end with the question too, so that they aren't just, it doesn't stop the conversation. So when you're first trying to tell them about the products, ask them questions back so that they can answer you back, so that the conversation keeps going. Because it's very easy just to give someone a ton of information and then the conversation stops. So try to keep that from happening. But if it does happen, check back in with them again and just maybe ask, I just wanted to see if you had a chance to read over the information that I gave you in the beginning and what questions I can answer for you. And check in with your customers too and make sure that they're taking the products correctly, and if they're interested in the referral program or getting their products at a discount. It's always great to just make sure that they realize that that is an opportunity and that business may be something that they're interested in. And then last is my challenge to you. So I really, really want to challenge you all to make your frank list. If you haven't sat down and made your prospect list, do that right now. And then pinpoint your dream team. So once you've made that list, pinpoint, at least, 20 people that you would love to have on your team. And as soon as you sign one, add a new one to that. Don't let that pool, dwindle down to nothing, because you're going to want more than 20 level 1 ambassadors. So make sure you're keeping that dream team pot, active too, even if you are a more seasoned ambassador and you feel like you have your dream team already. There's still definitely more out there that you don't have yet. So keep prospecting, keep making those lists, and keep adding to that list. So my challenge: make your list, pinpoint your dream team. If you've already built trust with those in your dream team and you have a relationship with them, message them about the opportunity. And don't just go in saying, "Hey, I have an opportunity for you." It's good to start off the conversation in a friendly manner. Like, "I noticed that your kids started school this week. How are they liking it?" And then let the conversation lead into the business. Ask them to lunch if you can talk more on the phone. These are better ways for it to naturally happen, so it doesn't feel forced. If you can do it by talking instead of through Facebook messages, it's much more personal. If you don't have a trusting relationship built yet, though, with this dream team of yours, make sure you start adding marbles to their marble jar. Really work actively this week at seeking out your dream team members and, checking in with them, liking and commenting on their photos. Genuinely try to get to know them better. Like, really go at this as trying to get to know them and not just trying to, think about Plexus. Ask them to lunch, call them to chat. You may get, as you find out, this would be a horrible fit for them, but you may find a great friend out of the deal. So really start trying to build relationships. And if you have past prospects that nothing has come from, message them and follow up. Make a list and message them and follow up. Practice asking them questions and using the feel, felt, found method. These things take lots of practice before they feel natural. So, use your old prospects that you haven't talked to in a while to practice these new methods. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope some of this was helpful.